Hey, did you hear the one about the keen gardener who woke up one morning to discover that the season had turned to spring? No, he was so excited he wet his plants. True story. Yep, that's pretty much the best I've got. G'day folks, Uncle Knackers here from DIY for Knuckleheads, and welcome to the spring edition where I'm going to show you how to build your very own self-supporting trellis fence. Let's get this show on the road. Oh yeah, and earlier, the dad joke, not my best work, my apologies. So with springtime in the air here in Australia, it's a great time to get out in the garden and get some of those jobs done, which is what I'm doing here by building a big trellis fence up against that old huge back wall. You've heard of the Great Wall of China? Well, this is going to be the Great Trellis Fence of Australia. It's going to be pretty big. You might not be able to see it from space. I'm not making that claim, but it's pretty big. Now, as far as the frame goes for the trellis fence, I'm building it all out of recycled hardwood, and I'm supporting the posts in these metal brackets. This is a flat bar bracket, which is a much sturdier bracket than the center support brackets, and I'm doing it for two reasons. Reason number one, whenever you put timber or wood or a wooden post into the ground over time, I don't care what anybody says, it will rot. Just ask any fencer. And I don't want to deal with that issue down the track, hence the posts are going to be supported by these metal brackets. It's much easier to put the posts into the ground, but I think for longevity, these are the go. And reason number two, which I've seen many times before, is that when people attach a long trellis fence to an existing fence, over time, when those plants grow big, tall and heavy, they tend to drag the old fence over, which doesn't look that good. Hence, which is why I'm going for a freestanding trellis fence. You know what I mean? Good stuff. Let's do this. The first thing you're going to need is some mesh for the plants to climb on, some old recycled hardwood ceiling joists, bags of concrete, some high wind post stirrups, and a handful of nuts and bolts. And once you've gotten your materials sorted, you'd better start digging those holes for the metal post supports, because they're not going to dig themselves, unfortunately. And how's this for Murphy's Law? Whenever you dig a hole in the backyard, you always come across a very well positioned tree root, like this beast here, or a plumbing pipe. Every single time. It's amazing. Oh well, looks like this tree root has a date with a reciprocating saw. Let's do it. There you have it. The new Makita. I'm as happy as Larry. Love it. Come out, you. There she is. Uncle Knackers 1, tree root 0. Alright. Now I've just got to set these stirrups up to the right height, and I want the bottom of the post to be not far off ground level. So I'm just working that out now, and then I'll transfer the top of that over to here. What I'm setting up are things called construction hurdles that are used in the building set out process, which are really handy, as you'll see shortly. Then we just nail this crossbar to these uprights, and that'll provide a place for us to attach our string line. So that's the top. We'll put one down here as well. Once the height for the post support and the distance away from the fence has been determined, we can then run out our string lines, which will position the face of our post supports. Now, tying a correctly tensioned string line can be a little tricky, So I'll leave a link below to one of my string tying videos. Make sure you check it out. Now look at that. Tight as a drum. Beautiful. With the holes dug and the string lines in place, it's time to mix up some concrete, dump it in the holes and set up those post supports for the trellis fence. And it's really important that whenever you're doing a freestanding structure that you take a little bit of care, line the face of those post supports to the string lines and then plumb them up from left to right. Just like that. Very nice. G'day folks, nice to see ya. Now like I said before, I'm using recycled hardwood for the posts that I need to check out a little so that they can slot into those post supports, which just involves cutting a series of slots close together that I just simply chisel out with the world's bluntest chisel. I really need to get onto that. And then prior to installing them into those post supports, I give them a spray with a timber preservative to give the exposed cuts a little more protection from the elements. Beautiful. Now by now you might have noticed that for the posts, instead of going for one boring solid piece, I'm using 2 lengths of recycled hardwood ceiling joist that I sandwich together with a block down the bottom, middle and top that separates the two and makes the post a little more interesting. Once you've screwed those separating blocks in, grab yourself a spirit level and begin plumbing up the post, starting with the one on each end of the trellis fence. And make sure you plumb and brace the post before you bolt the post to the bracket. Now being born gifted with bionic hands can also speed up the process, as you can see here. With the 2 end posts braced and bolted in place, run a string line between the 2, making sure that there's one string line running close to the top of the post and another running close to the bottom of the post. Then all you need to do is position the intermediate posts in their brackets, line them up to the 2 string lines, brace them and then bolt them into their post brackets. Too easy. Once you work out how tall you want your lattice or trellis fence to be, with the aid of a string line level like I'm using here, mark all your posts to the string line and cut them to length with a circular saw. And can I just say that for more detailed instructions, extra resources, more photos and a list of tools and materials that I used for this job, I'll leave a link to my blog below where you can check all that stuff out. I want to frame my trellis or lattice mesh, so out came my fantastic little table saw which I used to cut down those reclaimed hardwood ceiling joists. By cutting the joists in 2, I was able to get 2 sticks out of 1, so it made the job a little more economical. I then just simply screwed the freshly cut hardwood to the sides of the post, the same size as the steel mesh that I was using. Lovely. As you can probably see, I have 2 framed sections per opening, and to tie everything together, I just simply attach the 2 frames together using 2 blocks, which I think also makes the structure a little more interesting, as well as serving a functional purpose. Now make sure that if you intend to oil, paint or stain your fence, do it prior to attaching the mesh. You'll thank me for that one. And for the record, I'm just applying a couple of coats of clear deck oil, which really makes the colour of that hardwood pop. We're getting close now. All that's left to do is cut the mesh for the trellis fence to size and attach it to the wooden frames that you've just made using, in my case, a staple gun that fires stainless steel staples. How easy is that? So there it is folks, the great trellis fence of Australia, built from recycled materials, all done. Great tip, knackers! So what do you reckon? Not as big as the Great Wall of China, granted. However, it only took me a couple of days to build that thing and took Emperor Quinn over 20 years with an army full of labourers, so I didn't do too badly. Alrighty, well I hope you enjoyed and found that video useful, and as per usual, a big thumbs up is always greatly appreciated, and if this is your first time to my channel, please hit that subscribe button for more handy tips. Okay, after all that, I need a cup of tea, put some plants in the ground and watch them grow. So till next time, be safe, and I'm out of here. Cheers.